What's going on? Let me get some headphone volume here. Hope you're all doing well. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully the audio is working and we're not having any technical difficulties. Please let me know in the chat. Thanks so much for joining me again tonight. I'm going to get some more volume here on my headphones. Welcome to a 4th of July live stream, a couple of days before 4th of July. Hope you're all doing well. Mic needs to come up a little bit. Okay, I could turn it up a little bit. You let me know if that's okay or not. Let me just turn down my headphones a little bit. Loud and clear. Okay, cool. Mic really low. Everyone else says loud and clear. Someone else says very low. Okay, let's try. Sounds good, Tom says. I could turn it up a little bit more. Let me just try. Try this. Hold on. Could try that. How's that? Is that any better? Let me know. Let me know. Half of you say it sound good. Half of you says it needs to come up. We need to get a consensus, everybody. Does it need to come up or does it sound okay? You let me know. Hopefully this will work. We'll see. Hopefully we don't have any problems with YouTube, although the stream connection says it's kind of low. Once again, as soon as I get on effing YouTube, they say they're having technical difficulties. Wonderful. So we'll see. We may get through a live stream. We may not get through a live stream. If we don't, I don't know. I'll try. I'll try. But I'm already getting messages from YouTube saying that it's that there's issues with the bit rates and all this other stuff. Who knows? We did some testing the other night. It works fine. As soon as you still go live, things don't work itself out. But we'll try anyway. So I hope you're all doing well. Thanks so much for joining me. Tonight we're going to take a look at the Softube Console 1, but this time we're going to take a look at it as you saw the little thumbnail and the title says. I was able to get a hold of another Console 1 fader to put 20 faders and daisy chain these together, and I want to show you that, which is really cool. Check out some of the videos. A couple of them, or one of them just dropped today on Softube Console 1. There's a total, I think, of 9 videos that'll be coming out over the next, I don't know, 2 weeks, and there's a playlist, and they're going to start being populated with everything from how to set up and install the software to plugging all the stuff in to walking through all the features and functions, a little bit of mixing, and so on and so forth, and you'll get a chance to really see the Console 1 in action. So if you're someone who is looking for a surface control, or if you've been interested in the Softube Console 1 system, those videos should be helpful to you. In the description box below this video, as well as all those other videos, there's a link there for you to check it out at Sweetwater if you'd like to do that. And that's my affiliate link. So if you do decide to buy a Softube Console 1, I appreciate if you use that link. That does really help me out a lot. So we're going to learn all about Softube Console 1 over these next bunch of videos. And then this is going to get pulled off the desk because we have another surface control from another company that's sitting right over to my left that you don't see, that we'll be doing some unboxings next week. So by the time this year is over, we're going to have gone through all the surface controls that I could get my hands on to kind of give you guys information on which one I think is the most intuitive, the most user-friendly, the one that allows you to not have to touch your mouse and keyboard so much, the most stable, all that stuff. So if you want to get off of a mouse and a keyboard mixing and you want to get to more tactile feel and get a little bit closer to what it's like to mix on a real console, that's what these series of videos are going to be. So hopefully that works. Oh, okay. YouTube says we have an excellent connection now. Wonderful. Okay, great. That's really, really good. Awesome. So, okay. My audio must be doing better now. Okay, really, really cool. Excellent. So, by the way, this weekend, due to the 4th of July holiday, if you don't know, if you're not on my email list, you should be at homerecordingmadeeasy.com because we're running a sale on all the training courses this weekend, 65% off, which is probably the largest sale I think I've ever done. Everybody's struggling for money now. We have inflation. Everybody's, under the gun with cash these days. And so I'm trying to help as much as possible. So if you use the coupon code, I believe it's July65, take 65% off any course on the website at homerecordingmadeeasy.com. So anything you want there, any single training course, all the training packs are already heavily discounted. Go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, pick up some training. You got some extra time this weekend, got an extra day off from work. You can spend it in your studio. Also, if you're really into mixing and you want to learn the craft of mixing, I highly recommend you check out mixingmadeeasy.net. Same thing. This weekend, the doors are open for membership to enroll. If you sign up for an annual membership, you're going to save 60%. 60% on an annual membership. Okay, so if you want to learn mixing and you're into mixing and you want to get better at mixing and you want a brand new training course each and every month with multi-tracks and join a great community of people, mixingmadeeasy.net is the way to go. And for this weekend only, you can get 60% off our annual membership, which is less than, I don't know what it is per day, but it's ridiculous how cheap it is. And you're going to get more training in the course of 2 months there than you'll get in a year on any other website. That much I promise you. And I don't care who the website is. Haha. Because I'm members of all of them and they all fall short and they charge you way too much money and they don't teach you anything. This will teach you stuff. Anyway, who's here? How many people we have here? I don't even know how many people are here. Anybody have any idea how many people are here? There's a bunch in the chat. So let me scroll up and say hi to everybody. And then we'll jump into Studio One while YouTube is still playing nice. And we'll see if we can get the audio working there. So we have Nautica 7084. Hey, what's up, man? Would you ever use a GoPro for your webcam or videos or photos? No, I've had lots of GoPros in the past and I've always sold them. For what I do indoors where it's typically dim or low lighting, GoPros are terrible. However, outside action stuff, very well lit, GoPros are really cool because they're super small, super handy, super rugged. But for webcam, no. I've never used it, and I know you can. I probably would not. For videos in my studio, no. Photos, I don't know. I've never tried photos with it. I'm sure it probably takes okay photos. The new Hero 10 Black is out, and that's supposed to be really cool. I see people doing vlogging with it on a selfie stick and that kind of thing. I don't do that kind of stuff. I use all DSLR cameras with interchangeable lenses because that still gives you the best resolution, the best quality, and you can usually use those in more low light situations, which is what I do. So yeah, but GoPros are good cameras. It depends on the application. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see who else is here. Jimmy Farmer. Hey, Jimmy. David SJ. How you doing, my friend? Let's see who else. Jimmy Farmer. Okay, you guys are talking. Good. Lito's here. Hey, Lito. Loud and clear. Excellent. Tom Kaplan. Hey, Tom. Good to see you, brother. Music Junkie. Awesome. How are you? Good to see you. Sebastian, sounds good here. Awesome. Julio, hello. Does it or is it possible one day to do a tutorial on Studio One with reamp Kemper and SPDIF? Thanks. I don't have a Kemper, so it wouldn't be me, the one that would do it. But you can do it with, you could certainly do that. I know people that do it. You need some kind of a reamping box. Radial makes some really good stuff. You need a reamping box. So you could take the audio out of Studio One, out of your audio interface, into the reamping box through your Kemper, and then back into Studio One and print it. You can easily do it. But I don't have the gear to do that, so I won't be the one to do it. But if you search on YouTube, Julio, you'll find someone who's done it. I mean, there's a lot of people who do that sort of stuff. And I'm sure it would sound great. Kempers are awesome. Do you have compression on your mic? Yes, I always have some compression. How much compression? I don't know. Probably 4 dB, 5 dB maybe. Yeah, there's always compression on my voiceover mic. This is a new microphone for me, so I'm still getting used to the sound of it. I don't know if it sounds good to you guys or not, but in all the videos I've done with it up to this point, I thought it sounded pretty good. But I have a new microphone over the last 2 weeks. I bought a new audio interface thing, which has software in it for compression, EQ, and all that. And I'm still kind of dialing that in. But yes, there's always compression on my videos, on my vocals to some degree, and some EQ. It doesn't sound great straight out of the microphones. You usually have to tweak them. Every microphone I've ever used anyway. So that's just the way it is. So that's cool. Well, anyone else in the chat here? Let's see. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Let me scroll down to the bottom here. Cool. So Dave's got all the links going on in the chat, which is cool. What we'll do is we will Nautica says, blame, sure, go with the Rode Podcaster. I've had every microphone you just listed, my friend. I haven't used all of them. I've used every microphone on the planet. It's not the microphone, trust me. The Rode Podcaster's a great mic. The PreSonus PD70 is a great mic as well. I have them both. As a matter of fact, if you go check the rest of my archive on the YouTube channel, you see that I did a shootout with the 3 microphones that you just mentioned. So there you go. All right, so let me minimize this thing here, and let me get into Studio One here, and let's do this before YouTube crashes, shall we? Let's go Studio One picture in picture. Okay, so what you will see in front of you, hopefully in a second or two, I'm gonna get up the other. Should see it almost in a minute or so. You're gonna see it. We have the console one on my desk here, up in the top left-hand corner. Okay, so last live stream, we just had one unit, and we had the one fader, console one fader with the console one, the channel strip, and we had it in that nice little stand. If you watched the unboxing video, you'll have known that. And that little stand is really cool because it makes it really compact on your desk, and it also puts up the channel strip at kind of an angle, so it's really easy to see and grab. It's really, really clever, which I really like. You will see when you watch all the videos as they start to come out that one of the things that really bugs me about control surfaces in general, there's a couple of things, but the number one thing that always confuses me is the whole deal with, let me just move this over here, with the whole deal with, the whole deal with paging and banking. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, so for example, the console one here at the top, you'll see there's 20 track select buttons. However, if you have 30 tracks in your session, once you have to page over to go to the next bank, which every Surface control is like that. One of the things that confused me or kind of gave me some struggles when I first started using console one, when I only had one of the faders, is that if you hit track, say 17 up here on the console one, because there's only 10 faders, you would go to bank 2, physical fader number 7, that would be track 17, or physical fader 17 if you hit track 17 up here. And that's okay. It's easy enough to figure that out when you sit down and take a second and walk yourself through it. But when you're mixing and you're moving quickly and you're going from track to track, to me, that's a little off-putting. It's the one thing I really don't like about Surface controls in general. However, I talked to Softube and I said, well, hey man, can you daisy chain these things together, these two units? And they said, absolutely. Not only can you daisy chain them together, but there really is no limit to the amount that you can put on there. Meaning that you could put 3 or 4 or 5 of these things together, depending on how big your desk is and how many faders you want. And I said, well, I think would really be the nice sweet spot would be if we have 20 track select buttons, I want to have 20 physical faders. So when I hit track 11, it is physical fader 11. If I hit track 15, it is physical fader 15. It's not bank 2 fader 5. Make sense? So everything okay in the chat? Okay, cool. So I said, send me one. And they did, and here it is. So the way you hook this up is pretty simple. It's just a USB cable and a power adapter because they're motorized faders. You just plug your second one into another port on your computer, and when you launch Studio One, it recognizes them. It kind of does its little calibration dance. The faders move up and down, and it just recognizes them. So on the screen, you'll see track 1 is my kick drum. If I go track fader 1 on the physical unit, you'll see it move. Okay, if I go to track 15 is going to be bank. It's going to be all the way over. Did I hit track 15? Oh, I think I hit track 13. Track 13, and there it is. Physical fader 13 moves up and down, right? Track 20, boom, track 20. It makes it that simple, so it's a lot easier to move around. One of the things, if you've missed the last live streaming, or if you haven't seen some of the Softube videos I put out yet, one of the things I really like about this system, and as I said in the videos, and I will say it here, out of all the Surface controls I've tried up to this point, this is the best one for mixing. Hands down, it's not even a contest. For one other reason here, I mean, for many reasons. You have the channel strip, it's built well and all, but here's another thing that most Surface controls fall a little short or it's a little quirky. Let me go back to track 1 here, okay? Track 1, you'll see, is the kick drum all the way to the far left in Studio One. If I go to track 20, for example, either fader 20 or if I touch it up here, watch what happens in the console view, in the mixer in Studio One. You see how it shifts and it advances and it puts 20 in view on the screen? A lot of surface controls don't do that. A lot of surface controls that I've used, if you're on track 1 and you go to track 20, it will physically go to track 20. So if I move the 20th fader, it will move, but it doesn't advance the screen. Sometimes you have to take your mouse and you have to scroll the screen over, or you have to take a jog wheel and you got to kind of turn it. It doesn't happen instantly. And again, it's not that big of a deal until you start kind of moving around and working with this thing. And when you do that, then it becomes a problem, because you kind of interrupt that flow and everything kind of just, you kind of got to stop and think, and you get a little distracted, I guess is the word. So this is something that I think is really, really great. So if I go to track 16, it moves over to track 16. It highlights here on the bottom, it's physical fader 16. Okay. So it makes it very, 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 very quick to get yourself around. These units here, these Console 1 faders, I think are roughly $600 on Sweetwater. They're not very expensive. So if someone were to ask me, well, what's the configuration that I think really makes sense? It's this configuration here. Most people buy 1 channel strip, 1 fader control. They just page over or bank over. It's not a big deal. And that, that works too. And that is good if you want to just put it in that little stand that I showed you guys during the unboxing, because it does make it really tight and compact on your workstation, on your desk, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. As you can see here, I pulled it out of the stand. These are just laying flat on the table. And then this here, you'll see I have a piece of foam under here just to kind of cock it up a little bit, so it's a little bit more angled towards you, so it's a little bit easier to work on. There's nobody that makes a custom stand that I'm aware of where you can put more than 1 fader unit with the thing in the top, like that other stand that I showed you. So this is not too bad though. I think the length of this thing is probably around 40 inches from fader to fader, end to end. So it's not very big. It takes up about half of my desk, and I have a 6-foot desk. So it takes up about, 3 feet or so. It's not too bad. So yeah, so it works really, really well. Now, when we get to, that's one thing I really like, but there's a couple of highlights that makes this system better than all the others, at least up to this point. Those points I just made are 1 and 2. The other thing that makes this thing super fast and super intuitive is the whole deal with the channel strip plugin window. Okay. That makes this thing really cool, because the one thing, or not the one thing, but one of the things that slow you down in mixing when you're working with just a mouse, not only is it because if you don't have faders, you got to kind of take your mouse and, let me go over your Studio One, come over to track 1, move up track 1 with your mouse, and then come over to track 5 and move track 5, and then come over here. Everything is one at a time, right? The other thing that's really slow about working with a mouse is opening up and closing plugin windows, right? You go to track 1, you have your 3 plugins, your channel strip, your processing, whatever you open it, tweak it, close it. Go to track 2, open it, tweak it, close it. Go to track 3, open it, tweak it, close it, right? What's great about this system is this channel strip, that we're on track 1. I opened up the channel strip. You can see at the top of the channel strip, it says kick drum. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. The font might be a little small, but it's track 1. If I go to track 5 or any track, you can see that now the channel strip switches to the track that I've selected. So that means you never have to open up another plugin window. You open it once, it can stay open the whole time, and you can mix your entire session inside of this channel strip. I don't know that there's any surface control on the market that has that feature. I haven't seen one. I know other surface controls where you can program buttons to open and close your plugins, so you don't have to do it with your mouse, but you still have to open it and close it for each channel, whether it's a tactile button or whether it's with your mouse. It's more opening and closing. This is brilliant. So when we're talking about speed and how quickly you can do things, this is one of the big things that make that happen, is this. But not only that, this happens to be the SSL 4000 that comes with the thing when you buy it, is that you can swap out channel strips as well. Right? So if you hold down your shift button and hit, I'm going to get away with my microphone, hit strip, you'll get this little menu here where any channel strip that you have on your system available from from Softube is going to be here. So if I wanted to go to an API, which is the American Class A, I just scroll up with my little wheel and I hit OK, and it's going to change, and it changes to the color brown. That's kind of the API color, or the American Class, they call it. If I don't like that and I want to go back, and again, I'm trying to reach around my microphone here, so I apologize. Again, if I want to go to the British class, which is the Neve, and it'll change here in a second to a gray color, and there is the Neve. And then if I want to go back, it's just a touch of a button. It's that quick to move around this thing. Hit OK, and there's our SSL again. So you have several channel strips here. They don't all come with this. Some of these you have to purchase if you want them. But you have, you know, a Neve, an API, an SSL, a Chandler. You got a couple other Console One, you know, things. You have a couple of SSLs, a 9000K that you can purchase. You have a Summit Audio channel strip. So there's every, you know, you have every flavor that you could possibly want. That's really cool as well. That's something that, again, you don't even have to open and close a window. It's all done right here from the menu, which is really nice. SSL 4000, hit OK. The other thing you can do here as well, which you may or may not know, which again makes this unique and again just makes it fast, it makes it very intuitive, is not only can you swap out the entire channel strip, but you can swap out sections of the channel strip and make your own channel strip. What do you mean? We're on the SSL 4000E. Let's say we want to change the gate section or the shape section. Once again, I hold down my shift and I hit button number 2 here. So the track select buttons 1 through 20, the first 4 are like double function buttons. Button 1, when you hold shift, is the channel strip, which I just showed you. Button 2 is the shape. And this allows me to put, let's say the American, I don't even need to use my mouse, just use the wheel, American Class A shape. So if I hit that, now you're going to see that the shape section or the gate section turns brown, which is the API color, but the EQ and the compressor is still blue, which are the SSL color. So you can take modules out of other consoles and make your own unique console if you were, you know, if you really wanted to do that. And then if you wanted to go back to the SSL 4000, you just do this, hit OK, and there you go. So it's really that simple. The other thing that you may or may not have noticed on the camera is because these 3 separate units all have the same 3 sets of function buttons. So I can do everything I just did using the controls on the one on the right-hand side, if you're right-handed, or if I'm left-handed, I can do it here, or I can even do it up here. But because my boom arm is in the way, I'm trying not to go up here. I'm trying to stay down here. But it's not like you have to reach across, or if it feels uncomfortable, you can do it any way you want to do it. The other thing that you can do is you can also then swap out the EQ, just like with the shape, same thing. You can do the same thing with the EQ. So you can hold down your shift, and now not only can you pick other channel strips in the EQ section, but now I can also pick any universal audio plugin that I have installed on my system and use that EQ. That's another very unique thing that no other channel strip does, or no other surface control system that I'm aware of anyway. And if you guys are, let me know in the chat at one point. We'll read them all. Does. So now universal audio plugins don't come with this when you buy it. Make sure you understand you have to purchase those and own those on your own. They're not part of the system, but they work with the system. So if I wanted to put an API 550A EQ in here, I just go to my UAD 550 API 550A and hit OK. And now you'll see the controls. If I turn on the equalizer, those are the controls of the universal audio 550A plugin, which is pretty great. So again, this keeps you from having to, in your inserts in your DAW, have Console One as your first plugin. And then if you wanted to follow it up with a UA plugin, you don't have to drag it to the browser and put it as another insert and then open and close it with the mouse. You can do everything right from this one window, which is really intuitive. The only thing I don't like about this, and I think I may have said this in one of the videos you'll see in 3 or 4 weeks, I wish that when you chose an API, or excuse me, a universal audio plugin, like I did here, that it shows all the, it shows the frequencies and the way it's laid out. but I wish in the graphic display it would actually show the universal audio plugin. That would be really intuitive and cool. One of the things I don't like about this channel strip is it looks a little dated to me. I mean, it works, it functions, it's logical, it's easy, yes, but it looks like it could be refreshed. The look of it is like, we're in 2022, man. Let's make a plugin that looks a little nicer on the eyes. But that's just being picky. But you could do that with the EQ, and then once again, you can do the same thing with the compressor. If I want to come over here, hold my shift, hit button number 4, and now all the compressors that I have on my system, Universal Audio, Softube, any of them, look at them all, because I have a lot of UA plugins. If I want to put an 1170, I don't know, like say an LA2A, right, or an LA3A in the compressor, and if I turn on the compressor section, you'll see we only have, we don't have the controls on the plugin for attack, release, and all of that, because that's not what an LA3A has. LA3A has 2 knobs on it, peak reduction and compression. That's it. That's all it's got, right? So that's, again, very, very cool. So it's got a, it's got a ton of things in it that just makes this really unique to anything else that's on the market. And so if speed is your thing, if getting away from putting your hands on a mouse and a keyboard, and you want a tactile feel where you don't feel like half the time you have to still touch the mouse and keyboard because your surface control functionality doesn't really have everything, that it has some really great things, but it doesn't really have all the things. I got to tell you, this has almost, I haven't worked with it very, very long, but I've worked with it enough now, and I've done enough videos with it where I'm like, I'm not really too sure what else you would add outside of the fact that I would absolutely have 20 faders. I wouldn't have 10. I would have a minimum of 20, like this configuration. And again, some of the visual stuff is just being picky, but functionality wise, I'm thinking, I don't know what else you'd do. I really truly don't. So, I mean, again, if we go back to track 1 and we just hit play, and this has a little transport on it. And again, I don't know, hopefully I'll give you some more volume here, but you can do a balance. I mean, you could do it that quick. One of the things about working with faders, with real faders, is the way you can just get a balance like that. And we haven't gone through all the EQ stuff yet. So if I wanted to do that, if I just wanted to get a balance. Let me know if the audio from Studio One is loud enough. It sounds loud enough to me, but as we start playing with, so if I go over here, and again, I'm going to solo up the kick drum, right? And if I want to get some input gain happening, right? And then you get a little bit of shape here. And then a little bit of EQ. Right, and you can just, and again, my microphone's in the way, so it may seem a little bit more because I'm worried about the boom mic in front of me, but you wouldn't have that in front of you, right? So we're doing about 3 dB of compression, a little bit of drive, a little bit of character. Okay, so that quickly, we went from this to that, just like that. Right, and then you just, again, I'm not touching the mouse and keyboard. I know you can't see it, but you could just see my hands. I'm not touching. Low cut filter maybe. So again, from that to that. Right? And then same thing, go to track 3, right? Want to solo it up. Snare bottom, if you just wanted to solo it up, you could just do this. Right, a little bit of EQ. Yeah, no latency. The other thing I like about this too, and believe me, I tested this extensively in the videos that you'll see coming up and off camera many times. There is no latency in these faders at all, no lag. It responds really, really well. Now I know when I first installed it, because I didn't have the latest update, I was one version behind and they just released a new update. I was having some finicky problems with the software. Once I updated the software to the current version, it worked just fine. The other thing is that they recommend you plug these directly into your computer and not a powered USB hub, which I did do the first time, which might have contributed to some of the quirkiness. However, now one of the fader units, the console one channel strip, is directly into my computer, not in a port, but the second fader unit is in a powered hub because I don't have any more ports. So, and it works. So I don't know. That's kind of what they're. And here's our hi-hat. All right, you could even pan it over a little. All right, we can get to some overheads maybe. So here's our overheads, and we can solo up one, pan it all the way to the left. So let's get that. We got one overhead here, overhead left. And you can't see the fader in Studio One because the channel strip is behind me, but it's there. It's there for sure. Probably need some more volume on that. Why don't we get more volume on that? Let's see. Let me close that for a second. Where are we? Oh, because I'm on the wrong one. Duh. See? That's just me. There we go. That's me moving and talking and trying to do this stuff all at the same time. Okay. We want to go back to that track right here. There we go. Little shape. Do a low cut filter if you want. Little shelf. Little drive. Pan it all the way to one side. And then here's the other one. Here's the right side. And we could do a little low cut filter. We could turn this on. Turn it over to the right. So there's our overheads. Right. Here's our room mic. Everything's still working okay? Cool. So we're gonna make sure you select the track. Just a mono room, no big deal. And if you really want to compress it, little bass. Now, if you want to drive the bass, you can get kind of crispy with it if you want. You could change the character of it. Really simple. Got some shakers coming up here in a second, so we'll hit this with some input gain. We'll turn on the EQ, we'll turn on the shape. There we go. Pan it over maybe a little. Compress it a little. Little tambourine. Bring that to the other side maybe. So you can see how quick it just, right? And I'm just messing around here, but I didn't have to put my hands on the mouse or the trackball, not one time. That's what makes this thing brilliant. And again, I'm not that comfortable with it yet, but you can see you just start flying around. It's really, it's really simple and intuitive. It really, truly is. What channel am I on here? If I want to back up a little bit, I could just back up. Now, the one thing you can't do is scroll with the jog wheel on this thing. So, I mean, it makes really cool. What's also cool about the GUIs, as you touch the faders, you'll see at the bottom of the channel strip, you'll see they're touch sensitive and they light up. And you'll also see that the colors along the bottom of the plugin represent the colors of the tracks you have in your mixer in Studio One, which is pretty cool. I mean, that makes a lot of sense too. So it just helps you better identify what's going on. on the screen. So it's nice. You can touch them. You can see what you're touching, which is pretty clever. I mean, so again, it's really quick. And then again, what now, let's just say, you know, okay, I've done all my EQing. Okay, we're not going to go through the whole track. And then I'm like, you know, I got to tweak things. I want to tweak this up, tweak this down. I need to get a balance. Again, it's just real simple. You just pull all the freaking faders down and you just hit play. And in 2 seconds, right? Right? It's that quick to just, right? Really, really simple to do. Real simple. It's intuitive and it flows. It's got a little electric guitar. We can open this up. Oh, we got a lot of. Oh, we want this one here. Little transient designer. So another guitar, lots of stretch. Solo. So we got B3s here, right? So we can start here with a B3. Give that a little bit of crankety crank. Turn these things on. Not a lot of low end information there. A little compress, drive it. Here's the other B3. Kind of a high-low thing. So hopefully you get it. I don't know if you guys have any questions about this thing. Hopefully the stream is still working. Is the stream still working? I hope the stream is still working. But yeah, it looks like it's still working. Hopefully it is. Hopefully you guys are doing that. Yeah, let me know if everything still sounds okay. But yeah, I mean, you can see how easy that it is. It's not difficult to use this thing. And so I like it. I think it's really, really cool. I don't know if you guys have any questions about it. If you do, go ahead and ask me in the chat. I'd be glad to help. I should probably check and make sure the stream is still running, right? I should probably do that just to make sure we're still running. Looks like we're still running, so that's a good thing. Okay, still working. Awesome. Okay, good. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So yeah, so I mean, it's again, Softube didn't pay me to do this. I reached out to them and asked them to send this to me because a lot of you guys have been asking me since I bought an SSL. Quite a few actually, have asked me about surface controls. And, you know, they can't buy a console, but they want to get kind of that console feel. Do I like the fader port? Do I like the SSL UF8 or the UC1 or the Softube? A lot of people asked me about this in particular. And so that was one of the reasons why I reached out to them and said, hey, man, I want to bring this to the channel. So they did send this to me, but they didn't pay me for any of the videos or anything. I don't get, you know, I'll get a commission if you buy them from Sweetwater, certainly, but not from Softube. So I'm just telling you, out of all the ones I've tried, this is the best one out there. Now, I have another one sitting right over here by Icon. What's it called? The Icon QCon Pro X, which looks like a serious piece of equipment. We'll be doing an unboxing next week, and we're going to see how that compares to this one. The one thing I will say about that one, physically, it takes up a lot more room, but it's got also some cool features in it that makes you feel like you're sitting in front of a real console. I mean, it's like the Mac Daddy thing's pretty big, but it's got a lot of cool functionality to it as well. But what little I know about that, I know it doesn't do this kind of a thingy here with the channel strip and all that. It doesn't do that. It does a lot of the same functions that most other control surfaces do. And they claim better in a lot of respects. We're going to see. But this one's nice. Oh, and that Icon Q Pro X, whatever the hell it is, that thing is 2.5 times the cost of this setup. Yeah, 2 times for sure. The system I'm going to show you in a couple of weeks is over $3,000. This thing, one of these with the stand, I think is about 1,400. You're at about 1,900 if you add the second fader. So this is cheaper, but again, that has some other things in it. So we'll get to that. So let me see. Let me see if there's any questions here. Let me move over my chat here. I'm working with multiple screens here, guys. I've got up to, let's see. I'll answer some of your questions, guys. Let me see. Was the sound okay for Studio One? Did it sound okay? Let's see. Still working. Okay, thanks, Juan. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I know you would, Dave. I just didn't check my texts. Have you figured out how to gain match in console one? No. Now, yes. Well, yes and no. Oh, did I bring my chat room on the screen here? Can you see that? I hope you guys don't see that. Anyway, let me bring it back. Here. Yes, there's a way to do it. When you put, let me close this and let me open up one of these here. So the plugin that you put across all the tracks is this plugin right here. I'll try to move it down so you can see it. That's what activates all this hardware. You would do it with this knob here on the right-hand side. I've had people in the last live stream chats comment section say if you hold shift, it will turn that knob down. It does not at least on my rig. No, I don't know if that's a Studio One thing. I don't know if that's a software update thing. I'm waiting for the people from the good old people at Softube to correct me on that. Some people say if you hold down shift, so for example, if I go to track 1 and now it's on the kick track, if I hold down a shift key and turn one of these maybe it's this one, that this knob should turn down. Oh, by golly, it does. Okay. Maybe when I updated the software to the latest version that fixed that, you can see that, yes, it does. However, well, here's a test, Tom. I'm going to find out just for you. So let's close this plugin. If I had this opened, where is it here? Track 1. What did I do here? Did I screw something up? Do I have to bring everything in focus again? Why isn't, oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. Jeez. Sorry about that, guys. I'm still getting used to it. Okay, so if I solo up the kick track and I hit play, let's turn that up. If I hold shift and turn it down, yes, it does. Okay, yes, Tom. So the last live stream, I wasn't able to do this, and I'm just going to chalk it up to because I didn't have the latest software version on here. I was behind one version, didn't realize it at the time. So the way you level match, okay, here's our input gain. If I turn down the input gain, let's say to 0, where it would start off at unity typically, right? Okay. And I say I want to increase my signal, and I'm also now going to turn the volume on this back to 0, where it would all normally start. And I'll show you. Come on. Turn. There we go. I want to get it exactly at 0 for you. And I'm sure you could probably click on it or something. It'll do it. Okay. So now if I say I want to turn up the kick drum, the input gain, I want to drive the input of the console. I'm going to turn up 5 dB. Now if I hold shift, I could turn this down 5 dB. So the answer to your question is yes. The answer to your question is yes. So you can level match the plugin if you wanted to do that. However, and I've said this in the last live stream, because I thought you couldn't Hey, Dave, maybe you could take care of a few people in the in the chat there. I'm sure you're taking care of it. Anyway, when you work on a real desk and you crank the preamp, kind of like we did here, you crank the preamp, the way you're increasing the level, right? The way you turn it down is with the fader. You don't level match the console the way you level match a plugin. So I thought, well, maybe you couldn't do that because that's not the real way a desk works. But in this case, it is. So it does work. It does work. I know you do, Dave. Thanks, brother. I know you. Thank God you're there. There's always got to be some, right? There's always got to be a few trolls in the crowd. Hey, that must mean we're getting popular, guys. We're doing really well here, or else people wouldn't be trolling us anyway. So Tom, yes, you can level match that way. But honestly, I'll say it again. I don't. Yeah, Tom says it works on your end. Okay, good. I don't know why it wasn't working. My guess is that because I was behind one software version and didn't realize it at the time, that maybe that's what it was. But no, it seems that feature seems to be working. So that's really good. That works out really good. Would you use it on buses? Yes, Music Junkie. How are you, brother? Yes, you can do this if you add a bus track and you drop the Console 1 plugin on it, you can control this with buses. You absolutely can. As a matter of fact, let's demonstrate that for you. Let's make sure that I'm right. Again, I'm still learning this, but again, so if I come down here again, and this is where you'll need to use your mouse, but that's okay. Let's put all of our drums on a bus, right? So if I add bus channel for selected tracks, and now here's my drum bus, right? But right now, the only way this is going to work is I got to put the Console 1 plugin on it. So I have to go to my browser, and I'm going to put my Console 1 plugin on it. Let me get it here on a Softube. So if you do this during your session prep before you lay everything out, you can do that. Now, the other thing I want to make sure I remind everybody is that with Studio One, I'm not sure about other DAWs, but with Studio One, you have to use the VST3 version of the plugin, not the 2 version. So if I drop this on here, there it goes, drum bus, it populates, and here it is. You'll see it right here. It just populated. Okay, so it does work because now that is physical fader 11 because the bass has been moved over to fader 12, and there it is. And you can use, you can still use your channel strip, drum bus, just like you would before. Absolutely. It absolutely works. So that's really cool. Let's see. Any other questions? You use Console 1 on your buses as well? Yes, you could do that. Absolutely. You could even do it on your master bus. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Is there a way yet you can ban or kick? Oh, you must be talking about keep working. Okay. Let me just move this over so I can read it a little bit better. How is the big SSL console? What made you switch? Whoops. From the SL Studio Live 32, any features on the SSL console that you're loving the most? Okay, so I don't have. Oh, I thought you meant like the big 6, like the big SSL console. Okay, I hear what you're saying. So you're asking me about the origin. What made me switch from using a Studio Live? Any features on this on the SSL? Oh yeah, okay. Well, they're two different animals. So people don't realize that the Studio Live 32, for example, which is a wonderful product, by the way, great, best live mixer I've ever used, is a digital mixer. It's not an analog mixer. The SSL Origin is an analog desk. In the truest fashion, it's completely 100% analog, not digital, right? The SSL Origin has a sound to it. Analog gear has a sound to it. The Studio Live has no sound. The Studio Live is no different than this Console 1 thing in that respect. There's no sound that passes through it. It just controls the DAW. So they're completely two different animals. When I had the Studio Live 32, I had it when it first came out, before it was even able to control Studio One. You could probably find the videos on YouTube still. I still have them up there. There was a DAW button on the Studio Live 32, but it didn't do anything. I had one of the first ones that came out of the PreSonus factory because they shipped it to me direct. And by the way, I did pay for it. I paid full price for it. They didn't give it to me. And it was a great mixer. But at that particular time, and again, they may have changed some of this in recent years, with the workflow that I have in my studio, and even back then, where I was doing more than just mixing, I was doing mixing, recording, YouTube videos, live streams, a lot of making tutorials and online courses and such. The Studio Live didn't, from an audio routing perspective, it did not do what I needed it to do. So that's why I originally got rid of it, and I just went to a conventional audio interface, way back then, and just did everything in the box. But going to the Origin is a whole different animal. I mean, now you fast forward probably 5 or 6, 7 years later, and the Origin's a whole different animal. So everything that I do with the Origin, I'll go back here to the main shot because you guys can't see it, but you'll see it over my shoulder in this shot. Is totally different. So working analog on a console and working with racks of gear is completely different, both in functionality and sound, than working in the box of plugins or something with a Studio Live 32. They're not, so you can't really compare those two mixers. They're not even in, their mixers is about the only thing that you can say about them that they have in common. Absolutely nothing else, except for the fact that they're both mixers. Both wonderful products, but for two totally different types of use cases. So if your question would be, I don't know if that answers your question. Oh, you said any features on the SSL console you like using the most. It's not so much features as it is the sound of it. The sound of analog is way different than sound working digital, whether it be with plugins or a digital mixer or anything like that. So, and the reason why I like working on a console too, just physically, like, you could see it over my shoulder. When you pull your chair up in front of it, and like you're sitting in front of this big, looks like the Star Trek Enterprise, like a big spaceship, you feel like you're more connected to what's going on. It's a much more, yes, it's tactile, and so is the Softube Console 1 here. It's all tactile. We've talked about that, and that's really cool. But there's something more, I don't know what the word is. There's so much, it's much more of an emotional connection when you work on that than when you work in a DAW with a plug-in window. It's way different. It's way different. And so that whole, for me, it's more, the sound, yes, that's a big part of it, certainly, but more than the sound, it's the workflow. The reason why I originally got into this really had nothing to do with the sound, because I didn't know if it was going to sound any better than working in the box. I wanted it for the workflow. I wanted to wheel up to the console. I wanted all these faders in front of me. I wanted to reach out and grab an EQ. I wanted to go over to the racks and patch in a compressor and turn the knobs. That's why I did it. But in that journey, I learned that not only is the workflow and the feeling of sitting with all that stuff and working on it and touching everything and not really looking, you're not even looking at the screen, you're looking directly at the desk. But the sound is also just so much different that it's not even this close to the same. So I don't know if that answers your question. Now, what I will say, the Studio Live 32 versus, let me go back here. The Studio Live 32 compared to, the functionality now. Because again, from a sound perspective and whatnot, the Studio Live 32 and this Console 1 system is kind of the same. Again, they're digital products. Unless something has changed with the Studio Lives in recent years, I still like this better. And here's why. Not so much, not so much for the faders, because they both have faders. Studio Live 32 has 32 faders. There's only 20 here. Although you could put 4 of these together and you can have 40 if you have the real estate. But what you have here is the channel strip and this plugin window that I keep talking about. You don't get that with a Studio Live 32. Yes, you can use their little touchscreen and you can use their plugins on their touchscreen. But by the way, unless they've changed it, that touchscreen is horrible, in my opinion. You would have thought that would act like an iPad. It would be that responsive, that smooth. It is not, unless they've changed it. Okay, maybe they have. If they changed that touchscreen, it would make it a better experience. But the touchscreen and using the plugins on that touchscreen was extremely frustrating for me. This is way more intuitive than that. Way more. So if someone said to me, hey, Dave, would you buy a Studio Live or a 32 or a Behringer mixer or one of those mixers because I have a budget of about $2,500 because I think that's about what they cost, between 25 and 3,000. Or this, I'd say buy this. I wouldn't even hesitate. I've worked on both. Now, again, we're talking about for mixing. The Studio Live 32 also has 32 preamps, so you can record through it. It's a different animal, but I don't really record these days. All I do is mix and teach. So for mixing, this is way better than that. Unless, like I said, unless they've updated something. They may have. But as far as I know, it's the same as it's always been. Hey, Zachary, how are you? Let's see. Can you select, hey Juan, can you select tracks with the fader 10, or do you need to use the buttons on the MK2? Oh, Juan, do you mean, can you select the tracks from this, the fader one, or do I need, oh no, if I understand you right, buddy. Yes, either one. So look, if I'm on, let me close the plugin window just so you can see Studio One a little bit better. So if I want to do track 12 on the bass, right? That's going to be 10, 12 right here. See how it lights up? Studio One, go back to track 1. Boom, down here. Or I could do it here. There's the bass. There's the kick. You could do it on either one, but you can do it down here. Yes. And also too, which you don't see, you might, no, it's too small. Which one? There's a few things I don't like about the physical build of this, and I talked about it in the video. The LEDs are a little small, but the LEDs at the bottom of these faders, they light up the colors of the tracks in Studio One, which is kind of cool, but they're kind of small. And they're, well, and I have quite a bit of lighting in here so you could see this on camera. If you had this in a more dimly lit atmosphere, it would be a little bit, you know, a little bit easier to see, but maybe with all the bright lights, not so much. But if that's the answer, if that's your question, yeah, you can just select them down here. You don't even need to touch this if you don't want to. Depends how you like to work. Either way. Does the faders help navigate the session? Hi, Sean. How are you, brother? I don't know if I understand your question. Oh, we got a thumbs down already? Gee whiz. Some people are just never happy. Only teasing. Does the faders help navigate the session? I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Does it help navigate the session? I don't know if I understand your question, man. Again, I don't know if that means like if we're talking about on track 1 and then I go to track 20, you know, it'll physically move on the screen like I talked about earlier. Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean by navigate? What we don't have here, let me just shrink this down here. What we don't have here that I think would be really helpful is I wish there was a jog wheel. I wish I wish there was a jog wheel to navigate the audio back and forth. We don't have that. I wish we had zoom function. So if I want to zoom in and out like this on the screen, oh, you can't see it because of the console. You know what? Hold on. Let me, and I'm working multiple monitors here, guys. I'm trying to get up with the technology. Let me just, I'll bring that back in a second. So if I want to zoom in and out in Studio One, right? I'm doing this on my keyboard. I wish there were function keys on here that you can do that on the console one. You can't. I wish there was a jog wheel on this. You don't have that. So you do. So for those kinds of things, you're still touching your mouse and your keyboard. But if you're just the mixing and using the channel strip, you're just using the console one. I hope that makes sense. Now, so one of the things that I know, I'm going to go back over to this other screen here so I can bring up console one again. On the new one I have to do, the Pro Q icon system, that has a jog wheel. That has specific zooming buttons left to right, up and down. There are some things on that unit that I know are going to be cool for helping you navigate your Studio One session or any other DAW for that matter. I think it's compatible with every DAW on the planet, that particular one. I think this is too. But their whole master section has a whole set of buttons and controls to really help you zip around and do a lot of editing and things in Studio One or in any DAW that this doesn't do. So that's cool. But this, I think from a mixing perspective, might even be cooler. And you know what would really probably be the icing on the cake, what I think we're probably going to find out, is that if you use this unit in conjunction with that new system where you have, and you'll see it when we get to it. That might be the killer combination, because now you got the best of all worlds. Maybe, I don't know. That's why I'm doing these videos for you guys, to figure out what is all the differences between these surface controls. What do they do? What don't they do? And depending on your use case, which one might be the best fit for you. Okay, we're leaning more towards the mixing side because that's what I do. And these are surface controls that control your DAW. They don't have inputs where you can record through them. They're not audio interfaces in that respect. You know what I mean? But they all have different features and functions. There's things like I just mentioned that are not on this that I know are on the other one. So if you can use this with the plugin, with that, with the faders and all the other functionality, we'll see. I don't know if we can do that. We're going to find out. Let's see. Any other questions? Hi, Lito. What could they update on the fader port 16 that would compare to the Softube console 1? Well, here, we got on the screen. Yeah. This is, you don't have a channel strip. You can't control a plugin. It's really what makes this fast is that channel strip, the plugin control, the not having to open and close windows. You can do some of that on the fader port 16. I know there's some workarounds and some programs, and there's some multi-function keys with the shift button. But you saw my videos. I hope you did. You better have saw my fader port 16 videos. Great product. It's not as intuitive as this. So, and again, unless they've changed this with a firmware update from the last time that I used it, one of the things that bugged me about that product, and I'm a PreSonus fanboy, you know that. I've been using Studio One since it came out, or pretty soon after it came out. Track one on the I'll say this again. This is huge. And if you have one of these and you start working and getting fast at it, you'll see why this is such a big deal. Track one, I go to track 20. The console shifts over and I can see it on the screen. That does not happen with the fader port consistently. It doesn't. And I know that because I would spend time on the phone with their support team talking to them about why that doesn't do that and how it can do that, but you got to do this and there's all kinds of this and that. And that was one of the suggestions I gave one of the development team. I spent several hours talking to the people who designed that fader port for when they may, if they ever make another version of it. I'm sure they will. PreSonus is great about updating their products. And we talked about some of those things. And that was one of them. Track one, I want to see track one. Track 20, I want to see track 20. I don't want to have to now take the jog wheel and scroll it over or do like a 3-finger button push to get it to do that. So that is a huge one. And again, the other thing that makes this unique is that channel strip. That's what makes it, and again, not because, oh, it's an SSL and it sounds like an SSL. Forget that. Just the functionality, one plugin window. If a fader port could do that, that would be great. It cannot. At least it couldn't since I've done the videos. It's a different kind of product. But there's some things on it that I like. That has a jog wheel. There's a couple other things about the fader port I like that this kind of falls short, but I'm talking about overall. Hope that makes sense. Bradley. Hi, Bradley. How are you? It's way different. It's like the difference between secretly having sex with your girlfriend's best friend or having sex with your girlfriend, if you know what I mean. Oh, do you mean the difference between the two consoles? Okay. I never heard anybody explain it like that. But if you're talking about the difference between analog versus digital, and by the way, Dave, if he hasn't done this already, he will. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into that kind of stuff, and you want to learn how that stuff works, how it sounds, what the differences are, go to my other YouTube channel, Mixing Music Analog. We have a whole video, and David S.J., who's in our chat here, who's the moderator, he helps me with that channel. He comes up here, we do gear demos together, we do install videos together. Dave's been a big help, and he's, become a very good friend of mine, and he's having fun here too. He comes up once or twice a month, and we shoot videos together. If you really want to know what the difference is between working in digital and working in analog, go watch that channel, because we show you and we compare and we talk about it, and we don't talk about it in a way where we're like, well, this is better than this and you can't have this and you need this to make. No, We talk to you about it in a very unbiased but honest, our opinions, everyone's got an opinion, and we all of our opinions are valid, of what the real differences are, what's great about the digital box world and what's great about a surface control with this, and then what's great about that, because it's completely different and they're not the same. And anyone tells you that it's exactly the same, it sounds exactly the same, it's no different, doesn't know what they're talking about, or they're lying to you. So I'll tell you that. So go check out that channel. If you're interested and you like geeking out over gear, me and Dave spend a lot of time working on that channel. We're still a small channel. We only have about 5,000 subscribers, but people really like it. And Dave has been contributing now some videos showing you his home studio where he has a lot of hardware and he's in a hybrid mode as well. It's not as we're not at this level, but he has something that's in reach for most people. And so you might find that interesting, and we would appreciate the support. Okay, let's see. Okay, Tom says, in my honest opinion, nothing beats a console one. It's like the missing link to the fader port. Yeah, Tom, I would agree. I would agree. But Tom, I'm going to say to you, I said it's the best one that I've used so far. I have this other one we're going to check out, which is ultra cool. It's really cool. And there's another company I'm talking to now I can't talk about yet, bringing in another one. And I'm going to tell you which one I think is the best of all worlds. Right now, it's this one for mixing. But there might be someone that can outpass this. I don't know. And if there is, or if I think there is, I'm going to tell you. But they're all good. You know, here's what I would say too, because everyone has a different workflow, and everyone likes different things, and it's all cool. Anything that you can do to get off the mouse and keyboard 100% of the time, even if whatever you have only gets you off the mouse and keyboard 20 or 30% of the time, it's better. It's a better experience. It'll make you faster. You'll enjoy it more. So I would tell you that if you're a sole mouse and keyboard guy or gal, you ought to try a surface control of some kind. It may not fit into your workflow. You may say, nah, I just rather stick with the mouse and keyboard. But if you get the right unit, you'll be like, wow, this is kind of cool, and this might be different. So you may want to try one, Okay, let's see. Russ, hi, Russ. I'm a Studio Live. I use a Studio Live 32, and there seems to be a delay in the track meters in Studio One. They seem to be slightly behind in response. I don't remember that when I had the Studio Live 32, but that could be. That also could be, again, some of that could be the computer that you're using and such. I don't know. I don't know about that specific problem. I've never experienced that, but there could be multiple reasons for that. Again, I haven't used the Studio Live 32 in so many years. When I was using and playing in bands and playing live, the Studio Live is the best digital mixer I find that was made. Again, I know there's new products in the last 3 or 4 years, but as of 3 or 4 years ago, to me, for a live mixer, you can't beat that mixer. That Studio Live is top notch for one-touch multi-track recording in a live setting without having to bring a computer, to having all the plugins for live EQ compression, all that stuff. It's really a nice board. In the studio mixing with the DAW control, I just haven't done it in so long, but when it first came out, it wasn't great, but I'm sure they've improved it. So I can't say to you that it's not good now because I haven't used it. And again, if PreSonus wants to send me a Studio Live mixer and we want to test that out, I'd be glad to do it. I don't know if they will. I can ask them. I would be more than happy as part of this experiment with surface controls, because it is a surface control. If they want to send me a Studio Live 24, 32, or whatever their latest and greatest is, and they want me to put it through its paces, I will. I did it with their fader port. I will do it with a Studio Live. Let's see. Nautica says it's an inviting thing. It's an intuitive thing. Yes. Leave your message, huh? Hey, Zach, I've never mixed on a console, but from what I hear, it's definite positive to get your focus away from the computer screen the whole time. Yes, and you can really focus on the sound, if that makes sense. Not only does that make sense, I will tell you, one of the first things that I personally experienced once Dave and I installed it, and And again, if you haven't watched, if you want to see something funny, if you're into you want to see some lighthearted comedy, go watch Dave and I over 6 or 7 videos install this thing. You know, I'll put this back up in case, you know, while we're talking. You know, go watch us install that thing. You know, it's quite comical at times. But once we got beyond that, and the first couple of times I actually sat in front of it and everything was working, we were actually now going to mix something after 3 months of trying to install it. The very first thing I noticed was exactly what you just said, Zachary, is you're not even looking. I mean, I got this you can't see it, but we over the console, what we're using for a computer monitor is a 55-inch flat screen TV. I mean, it's this massive thing, which is beautiful when you're setting up your sessions and you're getting all the editing done and everything you need to do prior to bringing it to the console. It's nice and big and you can see it. And if you're an old guy like me with glasses, it's way better than using a small little monitor. But once you get beyond that, you get it on the console, what I found was I wasn't even looking at the screen. I would just set a loop at the beginning and the end of the song and keep running the song from the top down. And all you're doing is looking at the desk. And it's like what you saw me do with the console 1 here. You're looking down and you're looking at the faders and you're listening. And you're not looking at the audio form when you work analog, although this is a little different with the console 1 because you have a plug-in window, so you have to look at the screen for the plug-in side of it. But on a console, there is no plug-in, right? The EQ is right on the board. If you want to compress something, you got to wheel over to the racks and you got to patch in a compressor. So you're never really looking at the screen. Your ears become a lot more tuned in to what's going on. You have to listen. You can't mix with your eyes anymore. So that's huge. That was one of the first things I noticed. I mean, I always knew that conceptually. I knew that would be the case. But until you experience that, you don't realize it until you do it. You just don't. There are just certain things where, you know, I talk about it, or on the other channel, Dave and I will discuss these things at length. And we have those videos up there for you to see if you want to hear the conversations. But unless we always say, unfortunately, most people that are watching us there, you're not in the room with us, so you can't experience it. You can only take our word for it. And sometimes we try not to hype it up, but it's the only way we can really describe. It's way different, man. And again, once you come do it, if you ever get the chance, you'll be like, whoa, man. You know, you'll realize how much fun it is. You may not have the space to put one in. You may not have the budget to buy one, but you'll say like, wow. And again, all those videos on that YouTube channel and all these types of conversations are the reason why people would email me and ask me about surface controls. And that's why I'm doing all these series of videos on the fader port and the SSL and the console 1 and the other thing. And because people have asked me, well, I can't buy a console, Dave. I can't get divorced buying a console. But I want to get kind of that. I still want to get my hands on. I'd like to do some of what you do. How do I do that with surface control? And that's what spawned all these videos. So it gives you some of that same sensation if you get the right one, and if it fits into your workflow. Hope that makes sense. Let's see, Alberto. Hey, Alberto. Sorry for the interruption. No problem. But could we adjust the delay compensation for each channel from the fader controller? I don't know what that means. Could we adjust the delay compensation for each channel from the fader control? Oh, no, not that I'm aware of. I don't think so. If you mean the delay compensation in your DAW, can you adjust that on this? Again, I'll go back. Oops, nope, here. On this, no, not that I'm aware of. This does not control any of those type of parameters in your DAW. At least, you know, I think like Tom here tonight, he has one of these. Unless there's some deep dive function into this thing, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I don't know if that's true 100%, but I don't believe so. So I hope that answers your question. Hey, Juan, one more question. Sure. Related to your earlier one. I forgot your earlier one. Okay, let's, does touching the faders track, oh, okay. Does touching the fader select the track, or do you need to select them with the buttons? Okay, so if I touch the let me go back to track 1. Again, I'll go over here. Okay, there's track 1, kick drum. If I touch the fader, the fader in Studio One moves, if that's what you mean. So you're asking me, now that I'm track 1, if I go touch track 10, I can move track 10. See that? It's not selected. I didn't select it. I'm still on track 1. You can see it highlighted, but I can move track 10. However, with the plugin, you'll see it's still on the kick track. If I want to have it track, if I want that plugin to switch to track 10, I just can't touch it. I have to select the track to change the plugin over to track 10 to work on my channel strip, if that makes sense. So you don't need to select the buttons to use the faders and move them, but you do need them to switch over to the plugin window, I believe, unless there's a way to you know, I'll tell you what, if there was a way you could do that, that would be great. That's a hell of a suggestion, Juan. And maybe, again, I know Tom has one of these. He has more experience than me. I hear what you're saying now. If I'm on track 1 and I'm on the kick track, if I touch track 10, can that plugin change to track 10? It doesn't right now. Is there a way to do that? If that's not your question, that's another question. I don't think it, I don't know if it doesn't, the way it comes out of the box. If there's a way to set that up, I'm not aware of it. Just looking at all the buttons, I don't even see, there is a settings menu. What does the settings menu say? Let me see here if I can scroll through and just read a few of these. Maybe it does. I mean, let me just read, reassign, assign them. There is a bunch of settings in here. You might be able to do that. Set auto display. Oh, that's okay. You know, I don't see it. We'd have to look it up on the website. I don't know. That's a great question though. So what I'm going to say for now, I don't see a way you can, again, the faders will move. You can see they light up at the bottom of the plugin window when I touch them, but the channel strip doesn't change until you hit the select button. That's how I see it working, at least right this moment, if that makes sense. Okay. That's why I have an Studio Live 32. It has dog control, CS2, always trust your ears, as they say. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Robbie, how are you? Did you figure out how to open up third-party plugins? Yes, I showed that earlier. Well, you can only open, let me bring up the window. So yes, UA plugins, because this controls UA plugins right from this window. If I hold down my shift key on any one of these units, I'll do it over here because it's out of the way of my boom arm. And let's say I go to EQ, you'll see a menu pops up and you'll see all the universal audio plugins as well as the Softube plugins in the EQ section that I have available to me. That's how you do it. If you're asking for, how do I get out of that window? Oh, hit EQ again. There we go. How do you open another plugin? Like in other words, if you did, let me just shut this down. Let me come over here to Studio One. You mean if I had another plugin on this track underneath Console One, can I open that plugin? I don't know of a way to do that. So how do I open this? This just happens to be the overstayer. I got to do a review on this. I heard it's really good. Anyway, how do I open that second plugin from here? I don't think you can. At least I don't know how to. So I don't know. But I think the way this is designed is to really spend most of your time working inside the channel strip and then using the different. So in other words, for that particular, that might be a bad example because I just put the overstayer on, which is a saturation plugin. If I wanted to change the drive circuit of this channel strip, I can put the overstayer on this channel strip, right? So if I hold my shift key again, and I go to compressor. Now in this list, I have the overstayer here and I could put that on there if I wanted to. Or actually, I could do that, or I could do the drive settings. So if I go over here and I hit, where the hell is it? It's on this one. Drive. So right there, there's my drive circuit. So all my drive plugins that I have on my system, and here happens to be the overstayer that I just showed you. So if the plugin can be controlled from Console One, you do it all inside of the GUI. If let's say you had a Slate Digital plugin open here, how do I get the Slate Digital plugin opened? From this, I don't think you can, or at least I haven't figured that out yet. That wasn't something that I've seen anybody do. Again, maybe there's someone else in the chat that has this unit that might know that, but I don't know that you can. Okay, Nautica says, I love PreSonus, not because of their brand name, but because of their reputation. They have a great reputation. Maybe they have stock to invest in. I don't know about that. Well, no, they're owned by Fender now, so you could buy Fender Musical Corporation. But yeah, their PreSonus is awesome. I mean, I've been using their stuff forever. I love them. I mean, you've seen, if you've been watching me on YouTube, you know I'm a PreSonus lover. I like a lot of their stuff. I've had lots of their gear. They don't make bad products. They just don't make bad products. But everybody's workflow is a little different, and some of their products don't fit into everybody's workflow. And if I'm not using a PreSonus product for something, it's because of that, because my workflow might be somewhat unique, and their products don't always fit into that, into that box. But they don't make bad products. They make great products, and they got a great reputation. Their support's really good, and I love them. Home recording, let's see. Home recording meeting. Have you met David S.J. for real? Yeah, David S.J.'s been here a bunch of times. David just put the YouTube channel, Mixing Music Analog. David S.J. has been here in this room, sitting with me at the console. Many times, many times. Yeah, of course. Yep. Dave helps. Well, he helps moderate here, and he helps moderate and helps, with stuff at mixingmadeeasy.net. And he also helps and participates with Mixing Music Analog, more so with Mixing Music Analog. Because when I first got into the console and all of that, he was he was really the only person that I really, asked about, helping. And he said, I'd like to be involved. Can I be involved? And I said, sure. And, we became friends and all that stuff. So he's the only one that's really been a part of Mixing Music Analog aside from myself. He's the only one, and he'll be the only one. I don't, it's very rare that number one, it's almost never do I let people inside of my studio. And then number two, everything that I do, whether it's Home Recording Made Easy, mixingmadeeasy.net, Mixing Music, all those brands only are run by me. I don't have partners and stuff. But David is a friend, and he helps me with that channel, and he loves all this stuff too. So he gets to, buy gear and test gear and, come mix on this stuff. And so, yeah, but I've met him for real many times. He's a good guy. Really good guy. Brother, I will have my console one, but I also like my real warm feel of my WA Pultec versus, you have a WA Pultec versus the UA version of the Pultec. Well, yeah, again, so you have a real hardware Pultec, great piece, by the way, and that's going to sound different than the plugin. It just is, no doubt. I don't have a warm audio Pultec. I have an Audioscape Pultec. And I can tell you that Audioscape Pultec doesn't sound anything like the plugins. It's not even close. So, yeah. So, again, and so what you're talking about hybrid. You're talking about, I'm working in my DAW. I have a DAW controller maybe, or you have your console one, but then you also have some hardware that you're patching in some special pieces that you like the sound of. That is the definition of hybrid mixing. And that's great. That's awesome. You don't have to do this or over my shoulder. You could do in the middle. Let's see. Miguel. Hey, Miguel. This is the best ecosystem ever. Oh, you mean this ecosystem? It's great. I got to say. And I will say too, I'll be straight with you. When I first asked Softube for this, and because I wanted to bring it to you, whether I liked it or not, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, to be honest. I wasn't sure. I said, I knew it. Conceptually, I knew it. I had one of these when they first came out, the top unit in my studio many years ago, before there was a fader control. A student let me borrow one. I think I might even done a live stream way back then, probably in 2014 or so. And I remember thinking it was okay, but I wasn't like, it didn't blow up my skirt, so to speak. But I didn't have a lot of time with it. So I wasn't sure if I was going to get on with this thing. Would I really recommend it, or would I just say, you know, here are the features. It's cool. Why don't you check it out? And I got to say, and I haven't worked with it very much, I really do like it. It is really cool. It is a really cool system. And I think they built something really cool. And it surprised me a little bit. It really, truly did. It really, truly did. And I don't know if that's because since the first time I had this top unit, like I said, 2014, 2015, which is about the time that I had the Studio Live 32, 2016 or 18, whenever it first came out, that was all prior to me working on a real SSL. And I think now that I've worked on both and I can really tell you what the differences are, the pros and cons to both, I think that helped me understand these surface controls a little bit better, and it helps me relate to, is it really feel kind of like that, or is it really isn't that? It's, you know, and so I didn't have that perspective back in 2014, 2015. So maybe that's another reason. Now that I know what it really is like to work on a real desk, how close is this? And I have better perspective now. So I think I can be a better judge of some of these things, where before I really couldn't. I could only take it on its own value. I really couldn't compare it to anything. Let's see. Juan says, yes, they work together all the time. If they have a couple of video. Oh, okay. You're talking about me. Okay. Make sure you talk highly. Let's see. Hey, Miguel. Press shift setting on fader 1 to see a very cool thing. Yeah, isn't that where the thing kind of does the motorized thing? What do I do? What did you say? Press shift plus setting. Okay. It's not going to break on me, is it? Shift. Where's setting? So again, I think with all the lights, I'm having a hard time reading this because this can be lit up a little bit. But, oh, here it is. Ooh, look at that. Thanks, Miguel. I don't know what we're doing there. That's Vegas mode. Well, there you go. So right there, you should buy that just for that. How do I get it to stop? Ooh. And look at that. You have Pong on the screen. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. How do I move? Oh, no way. Oh, it stopped playing. Ooh. Look, you can play Pong. Get out of town. This doesn't seem to be very responsive, though. Ooh. How come I'm not moving this fader? Oh, where's my other? Oh, it's the last fader. Okay, 2-1. Huh? You even get video games. Oh, look at that. Huh? This will help your dexterity. Oh, 3-1. Okay, cool. How do I get rid of Pong? Mom, Miguel, how do I get rid of Pong? Is it just play up to 10? Is that what happens? Can I drag it off the screen? Oh no, I bet you if I do this. Oh no, it's still there. Okay, we'll let Pong play. That's pretty cool. All right, nice. Brother says, just got your TC System 6000 for a mastering chain. Oh, cool. But I don't use my console one as much as my TC can. Oh, really? I don't know if that TC System 6000. I got to look at that. I think I know what that is. I have to search on that and see. I got to make sure I know. I have a Studio Live 32 and console one, and works like a charm. Okay. When I select a track in Studio One, okay. So you use a Studio Live 32 with the console one. There you go. It's like I said, maybe I can use this console one. What's going on with Pong? How come it's not? Oh, player 2 wins. It only goes to 11. Okay, is it going to close now? How do I do that? Shift setting, right? No, it's going to keep playing. Oh, there's got to be a way to get rid of that. How do I do that? It's crazy. I don't know how to get rid of it, man. There's got to be a way to do it. Okay, let's see. What software plugin comes with console one? Okay, Robbie, the SSL 4000, the channel strip, even with the Pong, the SSL 4000E comes with it. That's it. If you want the API, the British Class A, or, maybe if I did this. I can't get rid of Pong. Drives me nuts. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, the other channel strips, you'd have to purchase those, right? So they have the American Class A, which is the API. They also have the Neve, British N. Those are purchased. So the only one that comes with it is the 4000. Again, all the UA plugins obviously don't come with it. You have to buy those separately if you have a UA system. So yeah, that's what it comes with. And again, I don't know if different times of the year, if they run different specials or those kinds of things on that where they give away extra plugins with it. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Hi, Gene. Many do not know that you can access MIDI and mid inside with the shift input gain. Oh, you can? I think you're right. Shift and input gain. Oh, is there a way to access mid side? Oh, I see it over here in the top right-hand corner that you could do stuff with external side chains. But I haven't used that feature. Like I said, I've only used it for a few hours. And now I can't figure out how to get Pong off the screen. That'll drive me crazy. Turn it off. Let's see. Oh, you're using an Apollo X rack. Oh, cool. With the M1 and an Avid S1. Nice. I haven't used the Avid S1. K-Boogie. I select a track and reach. What does that say? I select a can I move this over without getting on the screen? Should be able to do that, right? I don't think you guys will see that. Yeah, you won't see that. Why don't I just look at it this way? I select a track and reach out and adjust the EQ and compressor. If I have third-party plugins, I can adjust it with the fat channel in the DAW mode. Okay. With the Studio Live 32. Got it. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. Russ says, thanks. I'm on a 32 gig RAM. Oh, what happened to my chat room? What did I do there? Oh, come on. Come on. Where is it? There it is. Let's see. We get back to the comments here. I'm probably way behind. I'll get there. Man, am I that far behind? Let me see. Let me see. I'll get there, guys. I'm sorry. My chat room had closed there for a second. Man, you guys are asking lots of questions. This is good. So good that I'm behind. Okay, now I see where we are. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. This is my second time with your channel, and I just realized that you also color coordinate your EQ dial on your console like myself. Oh yeah, by the way, these colored dials, I said this last live stream, these are just stickers I bought on Amazon. All the knobs come stock black, which I don't like. So I color coordinate them so I can more easily see them, and I picked the EQ, which is the same as the SSL colors. That's why I did it, because it's black, blue, green, red. That's how an SSL is. So yeah, so I did that. So if you just buy $4 worth of little stickers, you just stick them on here. Or there's a third-party company, I think it's called DJ Tech Tools. These knobs will come off, and you can actually purchase colorized, rubberized knobs that they make specifically for this unit. And I think you could buy a whole set for like $40 or something like that if you want to check that out. Let's see. I started on console 1, went to a digital mixer in the 90s. Cool. To a Surface controls of all types. And in the last year, I've down to one single mouse over knob. Oh, I see. And it's been my best workflow, just point and spin. Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. You know, sometimes, man, you just got to try this stuff and you got to figure out what works in your workflow. You just, you know, You just have to. These are not for everybody. You may find something you just may say, hey man, I'm so fast with a mouse that has all the controls, little scroll wheels and everything. I don't need to have something like this. I mean, that's totally cool. Wondering if we can control Console 1 app with another MIDI map. I'm not sure of that. I don't know about that. Let's see. To control third-party plugins with the Console 1, you'll have to put the controller in MIDI mode and map those knobs. Yeah, you're right. I tried to do that at one point, and I was having a hell of a time doing that. And it didn't really. It was kind of clunky. Again, and I didn't spend a lot of time with that because I know with certain surface controls, this was one on the SSL UF8, you can do that. It was easy though to map things, and you can map all the controls from third-party plugins to the different encoders. I'm sure you can do that with this as well. As a matter of fact, I know you can. When I tried to do it, it was having a hard time learning. I don't know if there's a bug in it or something. I have to talk to the software developers in Softube about that because that was one of my questions. So I can't really show that to you because I was having a hard time with it. And because Softube is not, they're in Europe. I think they're in Sweden. They're actually off for the entire summer. So I won't be able to get a hold of a technical support guy for probably several weeks. But I heard you can do that, but I haven't been able to do that here. Yeah, and you're saying you'll have to remap the whole Console 1 plugin. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm sure you could do that. Yeah, you could do that. But see, for me, I think, again, to me, and again, this is, again, I'm coming from an analog mindset here. It's like, even when I didn't have a console, if you have ever watched any of my mixing courses, the more advanced ones, I mean, or if you've been watching me on YouTube, whatever, I used to mix with tons of channel strips. I'm a channel strip mixer. I always have been. I love working with channel strips, and I have everybody's channel strip, everybody's plugin. I've done many, many demos on the YouTube channel of all the different manufacturers' plugins. Personally, I'm a channel strip guy. I love the way the channel strip sounds. I love the functionality. Everything's in one window. So for me, when I see, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Mode. Pong is still up. We can't get rid of that. That drives me nuts. There's got to be a way to go. I must have to reboot it. But anyway, having everything in the channel strip window, that just makes sense to me. To remap the whole darn thing, to open up other plugins, I don't want to open other plugins. Part of the beauty of this system is it's fast. You got your channel strip. You could drop some UA plugins in if you'd like. You could swap out the drive harmonic distortion for tape machines and other things. You got some other plugin functionality within that plugin window. If I had to go now start mapping all of my other plugins and figure out this and that and the other thing, and then how do you open and close them? Then it's faster with a mouse and a keyboard. It's faster with a trackball, in my opinion. The whole beauty of this is you got to think of this more like an analog workflow, in that when you're on a desk, you have faders, you have one EQ, whatever's on the desk. You have one compressor, whatever's on the desk. I don't want to have to go through and open up 500 plugins in the session and then map it so I can control them all. Some people may like to do that. That would not be a workflow that I would ever do, even if it was simple. But that's just me. Okay. Let's see. It's funny, I don't use Pro Tools. I'm a Logic guy. Oh, cool. But Studio One runs in all DAWs. Just love the free Avid app on 11.1 iPad. Oh, okay, so you're a Logic guy. Cool. Yeah, we have some other Logic people here tonight, I'm sure. I've never really been into Logic for no other reason as I just don't use it. I've been a Studio One user for so long, and then prior to that, I was a Cubase user, and then prior to that, I was a Pro Tools user. Monica says, I was so close to actually needing a fader port if PreSonus didn't come out with the Studio Live 32 DAW control function. Yeah, they're very, very similar in that, but the Studio Live gives you the ability to record, right? You have all the preamps, so that's kind of cool. Brother says, I just think adding an empty time code window along with a dedicated jog wheel like the Icon QCon Pro series. Yes, and I have the Icon QCon Pro sitting right over there. You can't see it in the boxes after the console. This is actually the last video I'm doing with the Console 1. This is coming down, Icon's going on, and we're going to do a whole series on that. We're going to see. We're going to check it out. Steve says, I'm impressed with the setup. A Slate Raven guy. Oh, yeah, okay. I know you did not like the Raven, but it has served me well. Yeah, you know, Steve, again, is another thing. I bought it when it first came out. I'm a sucker like that, man. I'm into getting this stuff and showing it to you guys. And I'm sure the Slate Raven videos are still on my channel. I did 4 or 5 videos with them. It was super cool idea, but back then it was very clunky. It may have improved a lot from the time I used it till now. I know people that have them that love them. I could not, after literally months of trying to make that fluid, it just didn't work for me. Now, again, they may have changed. They might have updated the software. They might have gotten better at the technology. I know they've had different versions of the Slate Raven come out since. It's a cool idea, but it didn't work for me. But yeah, I think it's a great technology. I think Slate, it's a brilliant idea. It would be interesting to try it again. Again, would Slate send me a Raven? Probably not. If he would, I would try it. I would see if it's any better, but I didn't like it the first time. It was too, if I remember right, touching on the screen, it was because the DAW, again, we're talking about when it first came out, the DAWs back then really weren't made for touch. Everything on the screen is very, very small. So to get your finger in and to get accurate on stuff was very challenging for me. It was terrible. But again, other people have had fantastic luck with it. So I can't say it's a bad product. I haven't had it in my studio in a long, long time. Nautica says, would you ever consider doing Fiverr along with your business if you weren't this far into your career? Personally, no. Oh, if I would, I see what you're asking me. If I was kind of just starting out, would I use Fiverr? If I was just starting out, it depends on what part of your business you're talking about. I do a lot of things, but I think I would start out if I would just to get some exposure to people. It's a way that if nobody knows who you are, to maybe get some clients, to get some work under your belt. Yes, but Fiverr is not a place I would go today and do. I mean, no, I would. But if you were just starting out, certainly. I think there's people on there that, offer mixing services and stuff, but I would never hire any of those people. But, yeah, if you were just starting out in your business and you needed a place to get some exposure, I don't think that's a bad thing, but I would try to make that a short-lived thing and try to get on your own as quickly as you can. Fade or dance? Yeah. Oh, mine must be way off. Let's see. Plays Pong. Yes, it does. And I can't get it to not play Pong. Miguel tricked me there. Let's see. You need one. Okay. Robbie's kids wants to mix now. Great. You could teach them. Oh, Miguel, here it is. Shift mute to exit. Really? Okay. Because there it is. Shift mute to exit. Where's mute? Oh, he's right. There we go. Thank you, Miguel. You saved me. That was going to drive me insane, my friend. All right, let's move this over here so I can see it a little bit better. Okay. So we were playing Pong. That was cool. That was cool. All right. Sorry I'm behind, guys. This is one of the first times that we've had this much participation in the chat. I do appreciate it, so I'm sorry I'm a little bit behind, but I'm going to try to get to all of you if I can. Let's see. Okay, I'm scrolling down. I'm looking. See you later, Jimmy Farmer. That was probably 35 minutes ago when he wrote that comment. How is your C1 GUI if you're a M1 Mac? It was a problem at the point. It was a problem at one point. Great thing. I'm great things with your great friends with people at Softube. I don't use this system's not a Mac M1. This particular system is the last version of the iMac Intel, so I don't know. But I would imagine, I'm almost certain they're fine with the M1s at this point, but I haven't tried that myself. Okay, now we're at the bottom of the chat. Okay, we have another, I guess Dave is going to ban, oh, he's banned some of those people. Awesome. Can I ban them? Oh, I could ban them here too, can't I? All right, I'm able to ban people right from this chat window, Dave. Look at that. Ban. Trolls. Why do we need all the trolls, right? We don't have very many though. Cool. Okay, so I think I'm at the bottom of the chat. Is there any more questions you guys have for me? Now would be the time to ask. I hope you had a good time taking a look at this Softube Console 1 system. Again, I think it's great. But if you're still on the fence and you want to see, well, what other surface controls do we have? Like I said, there's going to be other ones coming. There's going to be other ones coming very soon on the channel. But this is a good one. And if you're in that sub less than $2,000 price point and you want something with good functionality, I would tell you take a look at this. I would. What are your absolute favorite mixing headphones? The ones that I'm using here, these are the Neumann's. Shit, I always forget the model number. David SJ always has to tell me what headphones I have. Yeah, I hear you, Dave. It's the Neumann headphones. It's the only ones that Neumann makes on the Sweetwater website. I want to say 542 or 524s. They're about $600. Best mixing headphones I've ever used. Nautica says, I like your live streams. Well, thanks, man. I don't do a lot of these, but I plan on doing more in the future. I'm using a different software tonight. I've had some, I don't think we've had technical difficulties tonight, thank God. But maybe some of the volume levels, I'm still dialing it in. I've switched over this entire setup from 3 weeks ago. I got all new equipment here, new live streaming software. So I'm going to do more of these in the future if you guys like these things, because I like to interact with you guys, and I like to stay in touch with you guys. If we get good interaction and we get people showing up and people are chatting up and asking questions and they're participating, then that's awesome. I'll do these as, you know, I used to do a lot. Oh, Dave says I have the Neumann NDH20s. That's what I have. Thanks, Dave. So yeah. So I'll do more of these live streams if you guys want me to. What would you recommend for tracking musicians' headphones? I used to use the Sennheiser Pro 480s. You know, the staples that everybody uses. The only thing I would tell you for tracking is make sure you get closed back headphones. Don't get open back if you can help it, especially for singers, because then you get all kinds of headphone bleed into your microphone. But yeah, those are good. The Sennheisers are 280 Pros, I think is the one that I used to use. The Sennheiser HD 280 Pros, I think they're called. Those are the ones I used to use for tracking, but anything with closed back should be fine. What are the main sound differences on the SSL back there on the console 4000 plugin? Oh, what are the difference between the sound of a real SSL and a plugin? Well, here's the thing. You know, again, I'm not going to tell you that it sounds exactly like the console because it doesn't. it just doesn't. The plugin has an SSL vibe to it. It certainly does. It's got that SSL-esque sound. Softube worked with SSL, the company, to come up with the emulation, and they signed off on it. The difference is, like I've said on the other channel about hardware versus digital plugins, they're both fantastic, by the way. I'm not saying that digital plugins are not good. They are good. I mean, homerecordingmadeeasy.com was built on working in the box and training in the box and using plugins, and they're wonderful. But the sound difference is that there is a more three-dimensional sound with a console or any hardware, but definitely with a console than there is a plugin. It's a little wider, a little deeper, a little richer sounding, and it's fatter sounding. It just is. It doesn't mean the plugin can't get close and it doesn't sound great. It does. But it is not the same as a real console. It just isn't. And that's just being honest. I'm not telling you have to go buy a console. People sometimes mistake me thinking that I'm now telling everyone that you have to buy hardware to mix and record and make good music. No, you do not. As a matter of fact, if you believe that, then you're not ready for this stuff because you don't have the basic fundamentals on. I'm not saying that about you, Zach. I'm just saying in general. That's why Home Recording Made Easy is here, right? Because if you go to the website, and again, Dave already put the link in the chat, you get 65% off all the training courses all weekend long. Go get my EQ course, my compression course, my basic mixing courses, and you'll see that you'll learn those basic fundamentals on how that stuff can sound amazing. You can make amazing sounding stuff with plugins if you know what you're doing. It's more about the engineer than it is the plugin versus the console. But beyond all of that, a console sounds way different than a plugin. Way different. Just is. But that's not a bad thing. Am I more into recording or mixing? Mixing. Let's see. Even though it's still a growing channel, I have to say I much prefer the community here other than on other channels. Oh, cool, man. Lots of jerks elsewhere. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Keep doing what you're doing. 2 Daves. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, whether it's this channel or you're talking about even the Mixing Music Analog channel. Yeah, that channel is, you know, we spend a lot of time, especially at Mixing Music Analog, monitoring, deleting people, blocking users, deleting comments. We really try to keep that community clean of the riffraff, because in that, when you get into the analog world and you start talking about gear, a whole nother set of people come out of the woodworks that I've never experienced here at Home Recording Made Easy. And I've been doing Home Recording Made Easy for 11 years on YouTube. And I could count on one hand, seriously, the amount of time that I've had to block someone from my channel because they were rude, nasty, or just jerks, as you put it. Mixing Music Analog has only been up a year. We only have 4,000 subscribers. Hundreds of people have had to been blocked and deleted because of the topics that we talk about. And we're not very controversial. We're not on there saying, you know, plugins suck and analog is great. We're not doing that at all. We're saying the exact opposite of that. But it's a weird thing. So yeah, we spend a lot of time doing that, and I try to do that here too. Like what we saw tonight in the chat is the first time I've ever had that happen in our chat rooms with that trolley stuff. It doesn't happen. This channel is getting bigger and bigger, so we're getting a little bit some more vocal people, which is cool, but most people are respectful. But I do spend a lot of time, Zachary, trying to keep the community clean, because if you want all that nonsense, there's plenty of other channels you can go to. There's plenty of other social media platforms you can go on. You all know what I mean, right? We don't discuss anything but audio. We're respectful to everybody. We expect the respect back. We don't talk about politics. We don't get into any of that nonsense. We want to escape from that and have fun, right? This is a fun business. This is a fun passion. It's a fun hobby for people, and we want to keep it cool. And we love exchanging ideas and, you know, sometimes, you know, batting around some opinions and disagreeing and having some, you know, some playful discussion. But as soon as it gets rude or nasty, they're blocked forever. And I wish there was a way I can block people to not only where they can't comment or participate, but they can't even watch my videos. But unfortunately on YouTube, you can't do that. I don't even want those people watching my content, to be honest with you. I want cool people, you know? So I do appreciate it. We're trying really hard to keep it that way, and we will keep it that way. We're not going to allow the nonsense. We're just not. Let's see. Juan says, isn't those, okay, you guys are talking about something else. Cool. How was the recall on the SSL? It's, I don't do recalls. I know David SJ just probably laughed out loud. If you want to know what recalls are all about, K-Boogie, go over to Mixing Music Analog and look at the video I released last week. And the name of the video is, I believe the title is, How to Avoid Recalls in Analog, Become a Better Engineer. And sit down for 30 minutes with a drink and enjoy that video. But how is it really? You have to manually do it if you're going to do it. So, and I have to do a video to show people how long it takes. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes to recall the entire console and all the gear, if it's a fairly good size session. But I don't do them. So there you go. So go watch that video. You want to talk about, let's see, exactly. You can keep it as, you can keep your real SL. I'll take plugins every day of the week. Cool, man. And that's what I mean. It's totally cool. We could disagree all day, man. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with working in plugins and in the box, man. Nothing wrong with it. I built an entire business showing you why there's nothing wrong with it. It's a different workflow. It's a different type of thing. Some people are into that thing. Some people are not. But I will tell you this. Every person I've brought into this room that sits in front of it says, I would love to have one in my studio. So, but it's totally cool, man. Plugins are awesome. And this Console One system is awesome. It's all plugins. Okay, let's see. So can you make good professional recording? So can you make good professional mix on a Fader 1? You mean this thing? Of course you can. Of course you can. Yes. You can make a professional sounding mix with any tool if you know what you're doing. Absolutely you can. And again, just to kind of reiterate what Got Yours said, anyone that tells you anything different, I don't care who they are. I don't care how famous of an engineer they are. Anyone that tells you that you can't make something sound professional with plugins, with Console One, with a fader port, with an SSL, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're trying to sell you something. The tool is just a tool. It really depends on the engineer. Now, all those different things I just mentioned sound different, work different. You may prefer one workflow or one sound over another. But to say that you can't make something sound professional, it's not the tool, it's you. And that's the truth. And for people who don't believe that, I'm sorry if you don't believe that. Juan says, if I hit the lottery today, I'm hiring both Daves to build me a studio. Okay, well, when you hit the lottery, you let us know. Let's see. Thanks for the live demo, man. You're welcome, Sebastian. Can I request a video on live recording and tracking musicians? How to set things up, starting off a session in a DAW? Well, you can request it. I won't be doing it just because I don't have the means to do it. There might be a point in time down the road where there'll be a recording course really for hybrid on the SSL with hardware. If you're looking for a basic recording course, I have those at Home Recording Made Easy, but if you're looking for tracking musicians with a band in a room and all of that, it's a great idea. But it's not on the foreseeable future, at least not on this channel. Maybe one day though. Amazing live stream. Thank you, man. See you later, Uncle. See you later, Robbie. Nautica says, I get trolls on the kick all the time. There's nothing you can do about that. That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I'll appreciate the hard work that Team Dave does in bringing us useful information. You guys are the best and have been instrumental in my growth. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Look, that's what we're here to help. I'm just here to help. You know, Dave, when he helps me over here, we're just here to help. We're not here, like I said, I said a million times, but there's a lot of people here that have only been here. This is the first time you've seen me or seen this channel. You know, I'm not here selling anything. I'm not here representing any company. Nobody sponsors me. No one gives me anything unless like I call Softube and say, send me one of these things. I want to do some videos, but nobody pays me. I have never taken a dime from a single manufacturer in all the years that I've been running YouTube, not a penny. On a handful of occasions, I've done demo reviews for a piece of equipment, and then most of that equipment was sold on the used market or given away in a contest. So I just try to tell you what I think and try to help. If you got a question and go, here's my experience. I've been doing this a long time. I work with a lot of these products. Here's what I think of A, B, C, or D. And then you go out and make the decision what you want to do. But I'm not here to try to sell you anything. I don't care whether you buy one of it or none of it. Doesn't matter to me. Okay, let's see. Is there any analog mid-side processing? I'm a hybrid mixing and mastering engineer. Cool. And mid-side processing really helps my mastering. Is there any analog mid-side processors? Oh, I'm sure there are. I don't have any personally. I think Drummer has a few. You'd have to look on Sweetwater's website. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there is. K-Boogie. Hi, David. Thanks, David. Oh, cool. I'm 30 years in as a mixing engineer. Awesome, man. Recalls as well was a nightmare, popping in and out of phase to recall a mix. No, sir. That's why I don't do recalls. Always a nightmare. Thanks, David. Thanks, Tom. All right, Nautica. See you later. All right, man. We've been on here a while, man. I think I'm going to end the stream now just because I would like to get something to eat. And I really do appreciate everybody coming. I hope you found this. Again, we'll go back to this. Then we'll go back. You've seen it. I hope you found this useful in some way. The Softube console one, like I said, there is a playlist on the channel with all the videos that I've done so far, and there's a lot of them that have already been done. They're scheduled and they're coming out a couple a week for the next several weeks. I think in total there'll be 8 or 9 videos, so you can kind of see, you know, all the different details and broken down into small bite-sized chunks. And stay tuned to the channel for the next surface control that's coming up. The what is it called? The Icon Procon Pro X, the QCon Pro X. That'll be the next thing that we do. We have 24 channels, and it'll be a lot of fun. And so, you know, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and check out what we have going on. Again, go over to Mixing Music Analog and do that. And again, make sure you go over to Home Recording Made Easy. Make sure you get your 65% off your courses. If you've never gone to Home Recording Made Easy, there's a free course right on my homepage. I'll give you a free mixing course, the $100 course you download it for free. And then if you want to buy something else down the road, if you dig my style of teaching, you could go check that out. Check out mixingmusicanalog.com. And again, if you want to learn mixing, go to mixingmadeeasy.net. So if you're into recording, mixing, mastering, in the box, out of the box, and everything in between, I have something to help you. I have things that can help you. And I can promise you there's not much on the market that competes with the stuff that I have as far as the amount of content, for the quality of content, for the amount of money that you spend on it. There's nothing out there like that. I can promise you that. You can go on the website, got hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. So go check all that stuff out, and I'm here to help you. So anyway, till next time, thanks everybody. I'll see you guys later.